categories of county government employees for the same financial year also remained unimplemented due to similar system and procedural delays. Management is committed to ensuring full compliance with applicable remunerations frameworks from the Salaries Remuneration Commission, and will promptly implement the revised rates on the HRSKE as updated and formal instructions are revised from the relevant authorities. We have provided steps taken, reference number SRC, county employees for the paid and are now in compliance with the current from the Salaries Remuneration Commission, and will promptly implement the revised rates as communicated from time to time. Thank you. Thank you.
Auditor, how does that answer your query?
Thank you, Chair. It was an issue of compliance with the law. So since they were operationalized, they've actually complied with the law. So I think what we'll look at in this coming financial year, their compensation of employees was 53% of their total revenue. So if they implement that, that means that...
No, but you're not querying the financial implication.
We weren't querying the financial implication. We were querying compliance with the law. So now
compliance with the law, and they're saying that that gas was not operationalized.
Yes.
By
then.
An issue that you got in other counties.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
Yes, what I didn't get that.
I'm saying I can inquire from my other counter.
Okay. But then those during the time of the audit in the particular year. So I think when we're writing our report, we'll see how to treat that matter.
I think
because yes,
we have a response on the wage bill. We do not agree with the percentage.
Because it's substantive, we can deal with it at that level.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe, Chair.
Yes, Senator.
Chair, I thought, Governor, you should have provided this information, or you got it from SRC through the chair. Why was there delay in terms of providing this information? Because it should not have escalated to the audit query. Because if you are doing entry, exit, management meeting, management letter, this thing should have been resolved. What happened? Number one. Number two, why was you have indicated steps taken through the chair. You have not indicated that you have either taken any administrative action for any officer that did not sufficiently provide. And then finally, Chair, I've seen in your response you take. But if you look at the previous financial year, and I want to turn the OAG through the chair, the unresolved prior year audit matters had captured that you are doing payment outside the previous use of IPPD. Why? What was the case? Thank you, Chair, for those.
I think the issue of IPPD, that has now been resolved. It was true that we were paying casuals outside the payroll, but that has now been.
What is through the chair? What is it has been resolved, but there was a breach of law, and ignorance of the law is not an excuse through the chair. So how did you rectify? That's what I'm asking, because Chair, it has been raised twice, just twice. Senator Dullo should be patient. It has been raised twice. So that's my only concern in the previous financial year and this year. So
the Senator, the system was not updated.
No, that is what I'm saying. HRS was paid outside. Even in IPPD, it has been captured in unsolved prior year matters at Appendix 1, the same issue. So even if it has been rectified, there was a breach of law. So I expected the governor to say the steps taken. He has not indicated what he has taken, including
in terms of administrative action.
Yes.
Governor?
The steps taken, we have rectified. What is important is that there was a mistake. It has been corrected.
Chair, can you assist the governor? I don't want to come back again. He says steps taken is rectified, but there is a breach of the law.
Chair is saying there was a breach of law. So that person who breached the law, then some administrative action should be taken to mitigate, either warning letter, training, or whatever. That's what he's saying. Otherwise, but for efficiency, because Nairobi is just coming in, we've seen documents coming in already. I want us to, because there are remedial measures that have been taken, the rest you can do as we can keep it in view through the auditor. I want us to look at 5. That is avoidable expenditure on accrued interest. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. A review of records established that an amount of Kenya shillings 5,749,700 was paid to a private legal practitioner as legal fees. The court had ruled that the county executive pays the plaintiff an amount of Kenya shillings 3,938,604 less pay by 1st October 2021. However, management paid a total of Kenya shillings 5,749,700 as legal fees, resulting to overpayment occasioned by accrued interest totaling Kenya shillings 1,811,096 as a result of failure to settle the payment in time. This was contrary to Section 162, Subsection 2, Subsection B of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which states that every publicity are used in a way that is lawful and authorized and effective, efficient, economical, and transparent. Further review of records revealed that an expenditure totaling Kenya shillings 7,169,709 was made to a widow of a former member of staff under work injury benefit who died in line of duty in June 2014. The total amount payable was Kenya shillings 15,800,000, Ministry of Labour. However, the failure to maintain an insurance policy with an insurer was not provides that every employer shall obtain and maintain an insurance policy with an insurer approved by the minister in respect of any liability that the employer may incur under this act. Management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
That even if the staff we lost during.
My name is Kulthum Harith.
Okay. Director level. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The delayed payment of Kenya shilling 5,000,007 Ndungu versus the county government of Lamu 2018 and Rafael Munya Ndungu versus the county government of Lamu 2021 arose from the non-settlement of cases outsourced and status, leading to accrual. The executive took steps to address the outstanding liability and mitigate further financial exposure to the county government. Consequently, provisions were made and payment effecting during the financial year 2023-2024 and financial year 2024-2025 to settle the decretal amount in full. The settlement of the decretal amount demonstrates the county government commitment to complying with court orders, reducing contingent liability, and promoting prudent financial management and development programs. Work injury benefit compensation without insurance cover. The county executive acknowledged the payment of Kenya shilling 7,169,709 to the estate of the late Mr. Ayub Kinyuma Mbogo in compliance with the directive issued by the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services via its letter reference number WIBA CGL 1432 dated 6 February 2020. The late Mr. Ayub Kinyuma Mbogo lost his life during the Mpeketoni terror attack in 2014 at a time when devolution had recently been operationalized and the county governments were still in their formative stages. Consequently, the county government had not yet procured a work injury benefit insurance cover for its employee. In recognition of the deceased entitlement to compensation under the Work Injury Benefit Act, Cap 236 of the laws of Kenya, and in order to avoid protracted litigation and the attendant legal cost, as well as to evaluate the hardship faced by the deceased dependents who relied on him for their livelihood, maintenance, and education through the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services. Consequently, the county government procured a comprehensive insurance. In addition, the county government is engaging the Social Health Authority, and other relevant stakeholders to ensure that all employees are appropriately insured and that the county remains compliant with the provision of Section 7 of the Work Injury Benefit Act, Cap 236. Step taken. Adequate budgetary provisions have been made for settlement of court awards and legal obligations. Outstanding court degrees and verified claims have been prioritized for payment. Coordination between the legal and financial department has prompt settlement. Regular review of legal liabilities undertaken to prevent delay and avoid the accrual of interest.
Lamu is doing quite well in terms of giving quite comprehensive answers. Auditor, what is still outstanding?
Thank you, Chair. The only thing that is still outstanding is in their response, they've indicated that they're in negotiation with correspondence. So I think that is what is work in progress. So we didn't get any correspondence from them. So I think as we go into the in-year audits, we'll actually inquire and see whether there is active engagement. Thank you, Chair.
But on the issue of paying interest on the declaratory sum, there's nothing much you can do about it.
There's nothing much you can do because the first one was based on a court order, and the second one was also based on a government department directive. Thank you, Chair.
But then the steps taken, can they suffice to mitigate?
What now they've not told us is
It's okay. Senator Andy.
Governor, I've noticed, I've read this report. I've noticed there is a lot of breach of law. You know, I'll not forgive you because you are a lawyer. And I want to repeat that if there is no excuse of the law, you don't have, and your legal person is just there. But Chair, since we adopted this report as is, I want to take the trajectory that we have taken, all steps taken. I wish for efficiency, they would have, and for example, let me just speak to, in the interest of time, a register of pending legal obligations should have even been provided so that we are aware how much and look at the contingency liabilities that have been allocated. Number one, these outstanding court degrees and verified claims should have been attached. I don't know what you mean by coordination between legal and finance has been strengthened to ensure timely processing of claims. You have not touched anything. The regular review of legal liabilities undertaken to prevent. So looking, Chair, at even budgetary provisions, even if, because in the budget, and I can see the gentleman who is always with you is aware that it should have provided even the contingent liability, and he's a survivor. He must be a very good survivor. So, Chair, the budgetary on the issue of claims, Chair, and then the budgetary provision through contingent liability, and then finally, Chair, on these degrees that the courts have issued. If the governor would have attached, then we cannot just take the word for it.
Okay, Governor.
But the chair is to make a ruling. Are you seeing the chairmanship?
He's requesting. Say, I request, Governor.
I request.
So let's have that information in the next 7 days. We are really pressed for time, but I want us to look at one more, just one more. That is the bullet on the paragraph on irregular procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant. Auditor.
thank you, Chair. Irregular procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricants. The statement of financial performance reflects expenditure on use of goods and services totaling Kenya shillings 474,512,195 as disclosed in Note 10 to the financial statements. Shillings 67,560,295 in respect to fuel, oil, and lubricants. Review of the procurement documents revealed that the county executive procured oil and lubricants through request for quotation. This was contrary to the provision of to the procurement threshold in the second schedule, which provides that for goods, works, and services, the maximum level of expenditure under this method is Kenya shillings 3 million per request for quotation. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Thank you, Chair. Our Director Supply Chain, Salim, will address that.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Salim Ahmed, Director Supply Chain. Management has noted the auditor's observation regarding the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant through the request for quotation method and appreciate the concern raised on compliance and Regulation 91 of the Public Procurement and Asset Regulation 2020 and the expenditure threshold for RFQ contained in the second schedule. After reviewing the matter, management wishes to provide the following clarifications. Departments in the county government are independent procuring entity as defined under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Section 2 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act defines public entity to include any organ or department of county government. In line of this definition, each county department was treated as distinct procuring entity with its own designated accounting officer as provided for under Section 44 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Accordingly, each department initiated and managed its own procurement process based on its approved procurement plan and budget. Each fuel purchase was conducted within the RFQ threshold. The procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant by department was undertaken individually, and each request fell within the allowable RFQ threshold of 3 million per procurement in accordance with Section 105 of PPD Act 2015, Regulation 91 of the PPD Regulation 2020, and second schedule of threshold matrix. No single requisition exceeded the prescribed limit, and therefore the procurement method applied was compliant at the departmental level. Decentralized procurement was based on operational structure. Department initiate fuel procurement due to their operational needs, such as field operation, transport logistics, and machinery support. Each department also maintained its own vote book of account and spending authority, making it necessary to conduct procurement at the departmental level rather than centrally. The decentralized approach was therefore consistent with the departmental mandate, budgetary allocation, and the operational need to ensure continuity service delivery. Aggregation was not practically possible, although the overall county expenditure appears consolidated at the financial statement level. This does not reflect the transnational reality, which involves multiple independent micro-procurement undertaken at different times by different departments and for the different operational purposes. As a result, aggregation into one bulk procurement for the financial year was not feasible, nor it is required where departments act as a separate procuring entity under the Act, Section 2. Improvement measures going forward. To enhance compliance and avoid misinterpretation in future audits, management in implementation of the following actions. Central consolidation of fuel framework contracts to supplement departmental RFQ where appropriate. In conclusion, management therefore maintained that the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant was conducted in compliance with the Public Procurement Act 2015 and Regulation 2020. Each county department qualified as a public entity under Section 2 of the Act. Each department had its own accounting officer and initiated procurement independently. All purchases were within the 3 million RFQ threshold as provided by under Section Regulation 91 and second schedule. Steps taken. The county government undertook an open
Leave that, eh?
Yes.
Because it's quite long. Auditor, that explanation, how does it sit with you? That each department was doing procurement separately?
Thank you,
It was
Chair.
less than 3 million, but when you aggregate, then it becomes very big.
So now what we would have loved to see was just to see the list of LPOs that were issued in respect of each department with amounts indicating that the threshold of 3 million was actually met by all. And if you aggregate them, then you arrive at the total figure. That would have made a lot of sense. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I have a problem with your indulgence. OAG, so when you saw this advert for the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricants, it was one consolidated tender, as per your observation, because in your certificate you have raised that when it is below 3 million, you can request through quotation, but when it is above, of course, you tap it. So when you were auditing, this was a consolidated tender.
No, it was not a consolidated tender.
Then why were you arguing that they procured beyond the threshold of request for quotation through the chair of 3 million?
Thank you, Chair. The audit observation was that if you look at the total fuel consumption, which is 67 million,
Correct.
that amount is huge. And if you are to do an open tender, then it is more efficient to manage because it can be controlled from a central point in terms of management and accountability. Thank you, Chair.
So finally, Chair, I've seen the governor has indicated, given detail, but you have said steps taken is now to for open tender process for the supply. Governor, what was the reasoning of segregating these tenders and ensuring, we saw yesterday in Wajir that there was 1.9, 1.9. So why were you segregating to 3 million through your person? Why were you segregating? What is the justification? Because 67 million segregating into 3 million each, it will appear as cumbersome and lump sum. Or does it mean the access to fuel and lubricants in Lamu is a big problem?
Yes, Governor.
Chair, I think this was for efficiency in operations. You have, we have like the Department of Health. We have level 4 hospitals. King Fahd, Pfizer Hospital, and Peketoni Hospital, each having their peculiar requirement for fuel. So for efficiency, we allowed the departments to procure.
Chair, just Governor, sorry for taking you, but I know we are rushing against time. If today you give this opportunity to, for example, Shell or Ruby's or Starbucks or whichever, or Starbucks or Ruby's or Shell or Total, I thought when you give tender, if there is a Shell that is next to King Fahd, they get their service there. Or you don't have maybe the senator, or you don't have a petrol station, for example, that is prominent within Lamu County, or a company that is prominent.
Not really. The geography is a challenge.
Yes, Treasury. Please help us.
Yes.
Chair, maybe if I may understand the transaction, is that the county entities were procuring fuel, but the problem is they were not mapped such that now the aggregated figure is reflected in the executive. I think that is my understanding. Such that now the individual entities were procuring on their own, but it is reflected in the larger county.
That is how I've understood it also.
That is how I understand it. Because as the audit is saying is that they just saw the aggregated figure, which now they could not establish the source of that figure. That's why the audit is requesting for the individual quotations from if really it was done in the county entities. Now the individual entity, the respective quotations can clarify the whole amount of the 50+ million. I think that is my understanding.
No, the auditor made that finding, and the executive was supposed to explain. I don't know if you explained that during the time of audit. And if you did, then there must have been something that compelled the auditor still to escalate the issue up to this point. Auditor.
In addition to what you are saying, I thought also if Governor is referring to some hospitals, I thought under the F5 Act they are supposed to generate their own financial statements. then why was it appearing on consolidated executive financial statement? So the auditor maybe through the chair, through the chair, auditor, maybe you can give us the wisdom, because I thought if, for example, King Fahd Hospital has its own financial statement, then it should reflect at King Fahd without a consolidated. Maybe
and they should have their own procurement.
Governor, we are assisting you.
Yeah, no, Chair, I just want to clarify. Even with FIF, it's not enough. So the county executive supports the entities. We don't collect enough.
No, that's not the point.
Yeah.
That is not the point. The point is procurement at the entity level. They are allowed to have procurement officers.
Yes, they do that.
And so if they are purchasing oil and lubricants less than 3 million, then they are allowed to do procurement at that level. But then that global figure, when it comes to the financial statements, it comes to 60 million. And that's what the auditor is querying. So, I don't know, I think I've understood it. But then steps taken to mitigate, they are saying that now they have an open tender process, which then would do the tendering for all the entities, I believe. So much so that if a particular hospital requires oil and lubricants, then they would buy.
But the F5 is, you know, if the hospitals are allowed now under F5, as you have chair, to procure on their own.
Yes.
So when they appear before peak, and I know they have appeared, those appearances will come through the financial statements of that specific
and they should be allowed
facility.
To procure competitively.
Correct, they competitively and as per the procurement laws.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, you know, this procurement for oil and lubricants has been a major challenge for a lot of counties. And I don't know why. Because I've also heard my colleague here alluding to a situation where perhaps if you procure with Shell, then is there a Shell that is near a facility that is consuming the oil? I would want to understand how this central procurement would work. Because first of all, Chair, you realize that if it is a petrol station branded Shell, it does not mean that it is owned by a Shell headquarters. It's a franchise. So it's a business entity on its own, where it is. So you cannot procure centrally for Shell, and then you assume that any Shell petrol station anywhere will be able to supply the entities that want to consume the oil and lubricants. So this centralized procurement for oil and lubricants, I want to understand how that will work. Perhaps for Lamu it could, because a small county in terms of landmass. But for places like where we come from, I don't know how that would work.
And then also maybe unless we are doing for departments, you know, Department of Education would require fuel, Department of Health, Department of Lands, and each department then has a procuring entity procure on their own. Maybe let's get your wisdom for the open tender. Order.
In Lamu County, there are areas which we need to operate, which are in the islands. And one of the requirements for a supplier to supply fuel for Lamu, he must have a petrol station at sea. Therefore, that's also another challenge. And the basic reason as to why we procure through departments is because of that kind of uniqueness of Lamu geography. But we have had the observation of the auditor, and we are acting on it. We are procuring all the fuel. In fact, this financial year, we procured through an open tender.
So how will it work? You have many hospitals.
There are challenges.
You also have departments within the executive.
Yeah, there are challenges, but because we are guided by department, which is mandated by law that this department can procure, and the threshold is allowable for that department to procure. And all procedures, in fact, the auditor can attest to it, all procedures for procuring through threshold.
It's a bit interesting.
Thank you, Chair. I think which was 67 million, yeah? Splitting. Yes, thank you, Chair.
The 3 million is threshold, meaning we did not exceed the threshold.
I think for us, because he looked at the global figure to make that observation, for us also we'll look at it. Actually some minutes to midday, so that we can start on Nairobi. I have marked the issues that we've looked at. There are issues that we've not looked at that require our attention. So, Governor, we should be able to call you back here, especially for the delayed projects and other issues on, mainly it is just delayed projects, construction of governor's residence, further sub-county headquarters, all those we've not looked at. And also we have the issue of ROR, which we've not looked at. So I know we'd have opportunity to invite you again, but our time is up. We need to adjourn for some few minutes, members. I'll give you opportunity to talk. Yeah, we'll have to adjourn for some few minutes, but before we do that, let me have can you donate our time to Senator Lamu to give some remarks? There would really not be closing remarks because we've not finished with this report. So, Governor, please just have your closing remarks, then we would see how to end it.
Chair, first, thank you very much on the delayed projects. Thanks to the Senate. What was missing was funding from the national government. And I appeared before other committees of the Senate to push for this county headquarters funding. And as of yesterday, we have received the first tranche of 120 million. So I just want to express our appreciation to the Senate for pushing, because this money was always budgeted, but it was never paid over to us, the 5 counties. So
is that the whole amount that is required to complete?
No. I said it's the first tranche. There's still some.
Okay, out of money. How much?
But it, at least we'll be able, like in my county headquarters, a building is there. I can at least complete 1 floor and make it useful for occupation. So I really appreciate and I thank all of you for according us this opportunity.
Senator Lamu.
Thank you very much, Chair. There is an issue that I wanted us to address on the issue of unfinished projects, but I've not seen it being captured here in the report, although it was supposed to be in the previous year, 2022-2023. There was a time that the governor came into this committee, and there was some document that he was supposed to provide. And there was some money that was lost, around 795 million Kenya shillings. When the committee issued an instruction that the executive bring the report here, it was never brought. So there is a problem, Chair, because the governor took me to court on that issue. So now I don't understand the reason as to why the executive did not provide those documents to this committee to date, because those documents are supposed to form the basis of my argument in court, and they were never brought. And it was supposed to be brought to the Auditors General, and then the Auditor General forward those documents to the committee, so that now the committee can now give me those documents. It was never done. And the governor has taken me to court because of that issue.
Can I say something?
Just a minute.
No, please.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
You see,
I'll give you opportunity.
Okay.
I'll give you opportunity. Do you know the documents that are supposed to be brought?
Chair, it is in Hansard. Those documents were supposed to be the unfinished projects.
Chair, I think I chaired that meeting. Let me assist for efficiency. We direct, and then as a committee, I think you were chairing another meeting in the first floor. We were supposed to be given updates on the unsolved prior year matters under the year under review on Appendix 1, but 1 project implementation status on acquisition of assets. So we were querying the amount that came to 795, and we directed then the governor and the executive to provide documentation to the OAG. I think Muriuki might have. So, Chair, if you want finer details as per number 21, that is page 12 of the certificate Appendix 1 on resolved prior year audit matters, then we can refer to the answer. And I would request my brother, Senator Kituku, to maybe give time and ensure you give correspondence to the finer details. But that order was given, so it is up to the OAG and Secretariat to indicate whether they received those documents. I yield back, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, with due respect, there was no money lost. And the senator went ahead in public and said the governor stole the money. There's a big difference. So I sued him for defamation.
So let's look at this thing. I'm not a lawyer myself, but being around lawyers, if we go to the depth of this matter, we might sink into the flouting the sub judice rule. Number one. Number two, if there are documents that were required, were they brought? If you don't know, we should be able to give you time so that we request for the same documents again, and then we look at the issue of the 95 million at another meeting. Yes?
Chair, I have to confirm.
Chair.
Okay, see.
I want to assert that we replied, sent the document, and they were received at the Senate.
Okay.
We were given 14 days to respond, and we responded within time and submitted the documents to this House.
Senator?
But I asked the AOG and they said that they never received the documents.
Did you ask our clerk?
Yes, I asked them. They said that they don't have the documents.
I think what you do, you just retrieve the documents and supply to the area senator. I don't think he's the one who's supposed to come look for them. If they are with us, just give them over.
If they're there,
Chair, well guided, Chair. I will
give them to the senator.
Thanks.
If they are not there, then within the next 7 days.
The court case. I don't know when this matter went to court. Did it go to court before we were seized of it, or it went to court after?
We were seized of it first.
Then how do you then get somebody to court on a matter that is before the Senate? The final examination.
The issue.
Wait,
he called me a thief in public. It's not what he said here. This is privileged. What he said out there, that he summoned me to Senate and that I stole 709
It's okay, Governor. Senator Wambua.
It's okay. It's okay, people. It's okay with time. If you don't want to stop, we can stop. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We can stop. If you don't want us to talk.
Please, Chair, allow him.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Chair, there is one thing that you must also understand.
Yes, our colleague is in trouble.
That the final determination as to whether there was money lost does not lie with my friend, the governor, or the senator. That matter will have to be subjected to a process. The determination will be made as to whether the money was lost and whether the loss is on account of theft or misapplication of funds. So I think it would have been better for the governor and also the senator to allow this process. If we ask for documents, then we should have concluded on the documents. Then after the outcome of the committee, you decide what to do with this matter. I'm not a lawyer, that's just what I'm saying.
okay, let's listen to a lawyer.
As a lawyer,
So on what basis did he go out there and call me?
Governor, it's okay.
No, it's a governor.
You don't have the mic, Governor. Yes.
as a
You
lawyer,
can listen to lawyers now.
Chair, you are wading into dangerous territory. I want you to adjourn this meeting.
Another lawyer? Governor? I'm not Chair.
Chair,
You are a lawyer, but
Chair, what I can say.
What the chair said,
No, you need to withdraw, Chair, because I am an active member of LSK. I have paid for my practicing certificate for this year. Mine is just in the interest of time, and our colleague is in trouble. I want just to encourage Tuku that what is happening, let us finish the process, Chair. Let the senator be supplied with documentation. Then you can form your basis. But I want to encourage you, personally, Sifuna and colleague have been sued by many people, including CS of Interior. So you should not fear.
I will not fear.
Yes, so you should not fear. And if you need legal services, you can get from some of us. I know how to deal with it.
so I'm not saying.
Yeah, that's called ambulance chief.
Okay,
No, it is called solidarity.
Briefly, just 1 minute.
It's called solidarity with colleague. No, I'm not soliciting.
Chairman, we want to request that, so to be able to support this committee, we want to request the officer of the county to give us the dates when that information was provided. That will make it very efficient for us to be able to make a follow-up with the Kilifi office. Thank you, Chair.
So I've given, whether you submitted them or not, I've given you 14 days to make sure that you submit the same documents to the auditor and a copy to our secretariat. No, the senator would get them through the secretariat. I think this meeting is adjourned until 12:30 when we'll be having Nairobi County Government. Thank you.